Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark Noon Edition. It is, of course, Tuesday, March 12th, 2024. Scream is back. Ghostface Killer is back. Neve Campbell's Sydney Prescott is back. Samantha Carter dead. Probably. But Kevin Williamson creating it. Also, shakeup at Marvel right before the XMen of the Batman delays. Hollywood After Dark, you know what time it is. Let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to a special midday edition Hollywood After Dark. Actually, to be fair, probably going to be more often. More often common occurrence is going to end up being Hwad midday. Maybe not so much Hollywood before noon. It would have been a little earlier today. You know how it is when you have kids. Actually, I'm assuming a lot of you probably don't have children, but you have responsibilities. And so when you want to do something and then that ugly head of responsibility leers at you with disappointment like, you don't get to do what you want to do until all this other stuff is taken care of first. And it's called adulting. And it sucks, folks, but it's movies. We love movies, don't we, folks? That's why we're here. We love movies. We love talking about movies. Lot going on today. There's a lot going on today. I'm very surprised about. It's very crazy with what is going on today. We are Underhaven here says Hollywood prior to dark. Absolutely. Shiny asking, did I move to the East Coast? No, I did not. It's just with my work schedule now being 10 to 12 hours Thursday through Sunday, the time I have to stream is limited, but I do have time between the hours of roughly between 12 and like 1:30, 2 o'clock most days. So I figure that's probably going to be where it's going to be best in order to get some of this stuff done, because otherwise I'm just not going to have time in the evening. I'm just not going to have time. So for those of you who want to hear it, you want to hear it live because you guys respond better to live. I tried doing like the half-hour show, the 45-minute show, right, where I would do it, pre-record it, and then put it up and everything else. And a lot of you guys, the people who watched it liked it, but a lot of you out there are used to me being live. And so if I'm live, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better on that particular fashion. But anyway, guys, we are live right now on YouTube. We are live right now on Twitter, Twatters, X. You know, I mean, obviously, I guess for all the X people here, I should probably drop it real quick. Obviously, we know that when we're broadcasting on X, yeah, anything can happen, folks. Anything can happen here. Hollywood After Dark live on X right now as well. Holy crap. I'm going to cut this before I get a claim because we all know how exactly YouTube is when it comes to all this stuff. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about today. So why don't we dive on in, and we're going to talk about probably one of a good news story. I like to start off maybe a little bit good before we get into a little bit bad. The long delayed Stephen King movie Salem's Lot, the remake of Salem's Lot, will finally hit streaming this year. This is a movie that they shot a couple of years ago. It's been done for, I think, since like the end of 2022 or maybe sometime 2023 it was finished up, all things considered. But Warner Brothers, David Zazie, doesn't want to touch it, doesn't want to do nothing with it. It's obviously decided that it's not right to put it out in theaters. Stephen King was out there campaigning just a couple weeks ago talking about it, but now we get a bit more information coming in from Slash Film. The article says, Stephen King fans rejoice. The fate of the film adaptation of Salem's Lot has been up in the air for the past couple of years, despite revealing footage from the project at CinemaCon back in 2022. Not even Stephen King himself knew what was going on with the film's potential release, though he wasn't shy about singing its praises of the movie from filmmaker Gary Dauberman, who directed Annabelle Comes Home and co-wrote It and It Part 2, well, sole writer of that. I like how the article points out that he was the sole writer of It Chapter 2, right? You're just all like, no. He co-wrote the first one, the one you all liked, the one you all really enjoyed, the one you all cherish. He co-wrote that one. But the one that you maybe not the biggest fan of, the one that you may not like the most, you know, the hardest part of the story to adapt, all things considered, he wrote all of that. So just so you know, this is Ethan Anderson from Slash Film being a little bit of a salty bitch. Okay, he's being a little bit of us. He's putting on his drag shoes. He's going out there in full regalia, and he's just snapping fingers around the world and dropping bombs. Oh, the soul writer of It Chapter 2. We hear you, Ethan Anderson. You clearly don't like Gary Dauberman. That's a dig, folks. It's what happens in the right. This op-ed writers, folks. Op-ed writers. Anyway, going on here, says Max has officially announced that Salem's Lot will now debut on the streaming service sometime in 2024. They did not give specific release date or even a season of the release, but at least the Warner Brothers streaming service was willing to commit to putting the movie out at some point, something they haven't been so dedicated to in recent months with the axing of Coyote versus Acme. And that's going to be the big one. That's going to be the one that looms over everybody's heads. Although I'm telling you, with the Oscars from the other night, with Arnold and with Danny DeVito out there doing their thing, right? Talking about doing the Batman bit with Michael Keaton right there in the front. It's one of the funniest exchanges I've ever seen. Truly had me laughing, truly had me in stitches, folks. It was really good. Everyone was looking at that and they're like, God damn it, this is my effing Batman. All right. This is my effing Batman. We already know this is what's going on. It's just, it's something that I think we all can enjoy. You know what I'm going to do, folks? You know what I shouldn't do, but I'm going to do anyway. All right. I'm going to say, damn the consequences. I'm going to say, damn those censors. All right. We're going to say, damn those people that don't want you having joy in your life. We're going to watch this 1 minute and 13-second exchange, this fantastic, amazing exchange between three iconic actors amongst three iconic characters, because it is just that damn good. And that is what Hollywood After Dark is about, folks, is bringing you guys the news uncut, raw, unfiltered, but totally uncut, uncircumcised news here, folks. That should be my byline, but here we go.
Look at everybody. Yeah, very nice. Well, Arnold and I are presenting tonight together for a very obvious reason.
We both tried to kill Batman.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try. I as the Penguin in Batman Returns.
And I was Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin.
How did Batman beat you?
Oh, he used my one weakness against me.
Heat?
Love.
Oh. He threw me out a window. Yeah, really. Yeah, he's really...
Batman, that son of a bitch.
Where is he?
Yeah.
He's here.
I hate him.
There he is. He's right here. He's right here. Look.
You have a lot of nerve to show your face around here. Son of a bitch.
You are a real beak breaker. I'm going to see you after the governor's ball.
You better believe it.
Pal. All right. And here in nominee.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. You have to love it, folks. You have to love it. You have to be very happy that they did this little bit there, right? Because it is just absolutely, look, it does make me upset. I will admit, I'm a little sullen. I'm a little upset. I'm a little depressed. I'm a little tired. I'm a little sad. Because I watched this clip the other night, and again, I think back to The Flash, which, you know what, the more I watch that movie, and I've watched it now quite a few times, I know everything else I need to see, but The Flash is one I keep going back to. Michael Keaton nails it as Batman, man. I just like, can I bully David Zaslav? Is there any way for me to go and find that man and just walk around with a bullhorn while he's out in public, okay, not anywhere private, and then just repeatedly yell out, "Release Batgirl, you cuck," and just over and over and over again, absolutely insult his masculinity, absolutely insult everything about him that is terrible. Because it's pretty bad, folks. It's pretty bad. And I mean, look, again, going back to the concept of everything involving, let's say, Salem's Lot, right? And then also Coyote v. Acme and Batgirl. It is something out there to really kind of like to take note of in this particular situation, because what we're looking at is a world where your content doesn't matter. The content you make The content for these companies doesn't matter. It's content, right? It's not art, it's content. We know that. Even those of us who watch it at home know that it's simply just that. We know that. So that's why we are in an age right now where you should absolutely be out making what you want to see, right? Even if that's using artificial intelligence to try to like come up with your own fan fiction or whatever, or your own original stories. You are in control. You are in control. And I think that actually plays into something else that's going on today, because I'm kind of curious about this one. All right. Marvel's X-Men 97 series has fired its creator a week before its premiere. A week before X-Men 97, right? Beau DeMayo was fired mysteriously by Marvel. Let's find out more here. So as the Marlin the Fish once put it in Finding Nemo, and confronted by an unexpected turn for the worse, good feelings gone. Yeah, kind of. So Marvel's upcoming animated show X-Men 97 has come with nothing but good vibes since its announcement, bringing a fresh dose of nostalgia to many a Marvel fan of my generation. I speak for most of us when I say we practically grew up on the original X-Men cartoon and developed a Pavlovian response to that absurdly catchy theme song. I mean, someone the other day, I just as a quick aside, someone the other day I saw was going like, what, the theme songs weren't even in the movies. And I'm like, are you fucking stupid? The opening of the X-Men movies opening credits, you hear the theme song, right? Like you hear the theme song. It's been there. Like, oh my God, these people, I swear. Anyway, today, however, brings a sobering bit of news on the eve of the project's debut. According to The Hollywood Reporter, creator, producer, and writer Beau DeMayo has been abruptly fired and will no longer take part in promotion of the series or take a creative role in any future seasons. The report notes that he had already finished work on season 2, informally banded ideas for a potential third season, and was even scheduled to attend the Hollywood premiere of X-Men 97 taking place tomorrow. Additionally, DeMayo was a veteran of a number of other high-profile Marvel productions in recent years, including both Moon Knight and the planned Blade reboot starring Mahershala Ali. At this point, that movie is cursed. Blade is cursed. We know Blade is cursed. We're never going to get a Blade movie at this point. It's been 5 years since they announced it. 5 years since they announced it. That's crazy, right? Like my daughter, who is 4.5, was born like a week and some change after that announcement. Like that's how long ago it was. Okay, she starts kindergarten in a few months. That's how long ago it was. Anyway, neither Marvel nor DeMayo's camp offered any comment, and you can read more information below. So basically what we do know, okay, going through all this here, says that the THR reports that this parting of ways occurred sometime last week, leading to the deactivation of his company's email account, an announcement sent out to the cast and crew acknowledging his exit, and even the deletion of his Instagram account, which he had previously used to provide constant updates on the production. No official reason has been provided as to his firing, nor is there any word on creatives who may replace him moving forward. And I agree with this next line here. Frankly, there's not a full chance we may even get the full story. I'm sure people will talk about this. I'm sure people will speculate. Twitter is already abuzz. My question was, so are we going to find out that he was a racist, a sexist, or committed sexual assault? Because at this point, that kind of abrupt firing requires probably one of those things. Jonathan Majors was accused. It took a long time for him to be convicted before they fired him. They probably don't want to make that mistake twice. The show already got lambasted in regards to the chud media by crying over Rogue's ass or lack thereof. Like, they slaughtered my girl. What'd they do to that booty? All those things that they were crying about with this show being woke and everything else. And you know they're going to be out there today championing this, right? As, oh, they got rid of the woke creator. They got rid of the woke guy. Let me break down a little thing for some of you fucking plebeians in the back. Beau DeMayo was a writer on the first season of The Witcher. He came out and defended Henry Cavill when they were talking about, like Henry wanting more, adherence to the book. He wanted the adaptation to be more of a one-to-one, have more of Geralt's inner monologue, more of Geralt's expressions, things like that. And Beau DeMayo backed him up on that, said that they didn't have an interest in wanting to follow the books. So they were adapting the stories, but they were kind of do it in their own way. He talked about that before, like, I think it was after he got hired for this job, but it was after he left the show. So it's one of those things where I just can't help but wonder, what did he do? 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 And what are we going to find out? How bad is it going to be? I don't know. I just work here. I just talk about this kind of crap, but it is very odd when we start really thinking about everything else that's going on, right? It is. It's kind of crazy because you don't know what's going to happen. You have literally no idea if you're going to get something that you're looking forward to, if it's going to be good, it's going to be bad. I just want to share this quick piece of news real quick. Nicolas Cage has confirmed there is no National Treasure 3, just because when things couldn't get bad enough. All right, he confirms there's no National Treasure 3, saying if you want to find treasure, don't look at Disney. It's simply not there. I'm paraphrasing there. It's not there is what he says. That's part of the quote. At this point in time, we kind of know that, I think. We kind of understand that when it comes to Disney, they don't really have much of an interest in keeping the National Treasure brand alive with Nick Cage. They did the show. Did anyone watch the show? Was it any good? I didn't watch it. It didn't really strike my fancy. Not that it's bad. I do want to give it a watch, but it's no longer on the show. Is it on the franchise? Was that removed alongside Willow? I don't really remember. Do I have to go sailing the high seas of the internet in order to be able to find this shit? Because that's the way it's starting to look. It's starting to look like what you've got is this very interesting, thing going on at Disney where they don't know how to market the content that they make. They don't know how to do any of that. And I feel like as well, right now, their biggest problem, because while they are having trouble creating content, I'm going to talk to you guys about someone else who isn't having trouble creating content, even though the content itself is terrible. I want to talk a little bit about the RIPPAverse. I know I haven't touched about this in a little while. The RIPPAverse decided it wanted to do something that I can only describe as the destruction of the brand. And I know not a lot of people are going to agree with me on that, but I want you guys to hear me out. We're going to watch something to give you an idea of this. And this is going to be considered fair use because I'm going to be talking about it. So I've talked about the RIPPAverse before. They're terrible comics. They're just bad comics. It was a boring world. Eric July can't handle criticism, a thing I know a thing or two about. But he does it in a weird way where, like, he just engages with everybody and, like, it just distracts. But he still has a very gullible audience of people that are just being completely fucking mined for more money. And now they dropped this Yaira #1, this campaign for Yaira #1, which I do believe hit $1 million. Hey, good for them. All right. It's got $1 million in total sales, but only 6,000 purchasers. So it's really not that many people, right? Yeah, the money is there. All right. Unless again, but here, let me just also point out all of this is contained behind the scenes. We have no way of knowing whether or not this is real or fake money. We have no way of knowing. But what we do know is they're offering a bunch of stuff here. Like, for example, you can spend, what is this here? Is it all the way down to the bottom? Here we go. The I Want It All. $999. I Want It All. You get a lot of stuff. You get t-shirts. You get, where's the one that asks, what's your favorite part of ISOM? That's my question. You get it graded, all covers graded, and everything else, right? Ooh, if you want that, it's $1,000. Well, I'm going to show you guys the little teaser that they made, right? They call it a live action trailer. It's a tease. And I want you guys to watch this. It's only a couple minutes before we get to the end credits. And I want you guys to ask yourself, if Yaira #1, if based upon watching this, if you have any interest in throwing down money, and if you're going to ask if anyone who is throwing down money, if they've just gone absolutely bonkers insane, if they need to be 5150'd, if they need to be locked up for 3 days, to ask if they're okay. Are they on any drugs? Are they on any kind of substances that would get them to drop $1 million on content, which live action teaser looks like this? Those would be the Soska sisters, by the way. Twisted twins. They do some weird shit.
This is gonna be tough. I've trained my body to do things that people like me shouldn't be able to do. But unfortunately for me, flying ain't one of them.
Don't follow me.
Wow, riveting content. Eric July voiceover.
Biologist and archaeologist who we feel is going to be an undeniable asset here at Projexus. Won't you please join me in welcoming her to our team? Dr. Sally Rodell.
Adopt or die.
Yeah, adapt or die.
Secure the area until Alpha Corps can arrive.
It is the truest law of the earth. Very few things have the ability to survive the test of time. Though we may not be around to see them to their fullest fruition, what we struggle to create now will be the triumphant echoes from the past.
Alpha Corps will be here in 5 minutes. Hold the line.
5 minutes? Thanks for the heads up.
Thank you for the heads up there, ja
I
und
was
ja.
here.
What the fuck is...
I lived. I am still here. I'm on you. Sweet dreams, chilled.
Sweet dreams
It's
chilled.
that struggle that is the friction of creation. I would like to thank Mr. Eusebio for allowing me the opportunity to discover and create alongside my esteemed colleagues at Projexus. Thank you.
An archaeologist? It's a bit archaic, isn't it?
She's well studied, Jerry, but if you want to question her credentials, be my guest.
That's not what I was saying. It's just an unusual area of expertise to pair with biology.
Well, Dr. Rodell, from my understanding, is an unusual woman. Don't be threatened, Jerry. She's on our side. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Photo?
It's just like... What is this? Why the elongated, like, pan shot right there, right?
You took that like a chomp.
Were you trying to knock me out?
No, it was meant to be a death blow.
It was meant to be death blow. Is she Russian or German? God damn, that was ass. Right, did you catch the line there at the end? Right, the line there at the end was the guy from Anal Core, whatever his name is. Fucking just like, Yaira, stand down. Alpha Core. No, is that line from the fucking animated thing? This is Alpha Core. Failure's not what we do. I mean, live action, yeah, you fucking fail. This is what I don't get. I just want to say this. Like, I've been critical of Eric July's content. It's fucking ass, right? I could write, AI could write better shit. AI can make way more like soulful material than whatever the fuck this goddamn rampant piece of dog shit is. But let me just kind of like, who's funding this? Ask Anthony Beltray. It's Eric July, right? Okay, so let's actually talk about like what this is for a hot second. What we know about this is that for the between ISOM 1 and ISOM 2, they did a little animated teaser, which I actually thought was kind of cool, not gonna lie. Then between Alpha Core, they did another little animated thing, which I thought was kind of cool, which I think I mentioned that as well, not gonna lie. Then for this, they don't do anything animated, but they make it fundamentally worse by bringing in a woman who can't differentiate between a Russian or German accent. That was meant to be death blow. Why you get up now? You die. I punch you in face. There's blood on ground. It's not your period. It's your mouth blood. You meant to die. All that kind of fucking shit, right? She's like, 5 minutes? Thank you. No, she punched her. She goes, sweet dreams, chilled. She might as well be yelling out, nice to meet you. Like, what the fuck? So bad, right? So bad. Anyway, so she's like, running out this goddamn nonsense. Okay. So like, why would they do this? Why would you do a live action over animation? Well, for one, costs, absolutely costs, right? We don't know what Eric July spent for the animation for the other two shorts that he did. Through the grapevine, I thought I heard it mentioned that he spent a couple $100,000 through the grapevine on those animations, because animation can be expensive, right? Animation can be expensive. The artwork in this comic book, 3D trace assets, but no, animation's expensive. Okay, fine. And so if he wants to, then maybe this maybe cost a couple $1,000s, right? They had a couple they had one interior shot in some lobby of some building, which could have literally been a garage with a decent green screen. They had one outside shot where they were in some, again, outside of some building, which could have been basically anywhere. They just could have like run and gunned it, but they probably got permits and they probably were able to do all that because they were able to like have a couple people that were there, but there was some CG that was really bad. But still, the budget on this was probably relatively low because it's cheaper to do this than it is to do animation. When in reality, what they should have done, if this was too expensive to animate, use panels from the comic book and do maybe a little motion graphic work on After Effects. Motion comics are a thing. You could even make it Runway Gen 2, Pika Labs right now. You could use a bunch of different AI products in order to like help convey this story in a way that's going to be better. Again, as long as the audio sounds good, and I like the background music, by the way, as long as the audio sounded good and the dialogue was discernible, which it was not. Yaira speaks like she's got cotton balls in her mouth, and she's just like, she reminds me of like what an 80s adaptation of a Cold War Russian agent would be like. Go back to The Punisher and think of The Russian and think of like that as being like mixed with like maybe like Arnold Schwarzenegger and how he spoke back in the 80s in roles like Red fucking Heat and shit like that. And think about that as being like the idea behind this, right? The inspiration for this. Either way, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible, guys. $1 million in like a day, though. So, I mean, like, a fool and their money are clearly being parted here. Anthony Beltry, who's been a channel member for a while, 23 months now. Thank you, Anthony. Says here, Gotham Knights show looked better. Well, I mean, Parallax says CW puts out better shows. The thing is, though, that's right. That's accurate. That's actually true. The CW does. Their content looks like ass, but they also are spread across a multitude of different productions. And so limited resources are there and they make it all work the best that they can. What worked for the Arrowverse was that the Arrowverse was able to at least have compelling storylines, having compelling characters, decent acting, some good action, and they knew how to tell stories. This place does not. Spooky Linster says, adapt or die. Glad you clarified it. I was so confused. Yeah, she goes, adapt or die. Very nice. I almost want to like get her lines and I want to just like maybe do it as like a Donald Trump impersonation, like 5 minutes. That's more than I can't do a Trump either way, but still, Yaira number one. This is pretty bad. The Saska sisters were like the big deal. You know what I mean? The Saska sisters were very much meant to be, what exactly is, like the future, right? Cause you got Chuck Dixon writing Alpha Core, Gun for Hire Chuck Dixon. And now you got Saska sisters that are like going into this like trad cath environment with all of these fucking incels that have never even like sniffed pussy that wasn't their sisters, trying to like, come on in to write some character that talks like a walking stereotype. And then, and all the shit that they've done again, and their other work and whatever. Didn't they make out? Aren't these twins that made out? I don't know about you. As much as I enjoy like, Scissor Me Timbers, that's gross. Okay. But apparently Eric July's audience, the RIPPAverse fan base, totally okay with incest, which I bet you if you looked at the vast majority of where they live, by their porn searching habits, What Are You Doing, Stepbro would probably come up number one. Probably would come up number one. However, I do invite Eric July to share that demographic breakdown with me so we can go look it up to see what the top tier porn searches are in the regions where people most purchased the RIPPAverse comics. Anyway, it's man. Datboy22 here says 1 million means the average purchaser spends $166. That well is going to dry up eventually. It will. It will. It absolutely will. And again, look, man, the way I view it is like, get that bag while you can. I'm not knocking the guy for getting paid. I just think it's really funny that the content is terrible, you know, but get that money, I guess. Okay. So let's move on here and let's talk a bit about one of the other bigger news of the day, because, you know, we got two big more stories to get to here. We found out now that the Batman 2 has been delayed by Warner Brothers a whole effing year, man, till 2026. All right. Batman's sequel delay comes just a week after Paul Dano spoke out on the saturation point of superhero films. There's no saturation if the superhero movie is good. If the movie is good, there is no saturation. Okay. We have to remember that. We have to acknowledge that. And we have to honestly really, really, really live by that idea. Because look, you could look at last year. We had middling movies. We had some better ones. I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania quite a bit. I thought it was like basically Marvel's version of kind of like Star Wars, which I really enjoyed. Guardians was amazing. I didn't see the Marvels, but I'm going to check it out eventually. That has more to do with just like, I just didn't care. But I watched Shazam 2, which I thought was great. Again, it came out at the wrong time. It came out 5 weeks after James Gunn effectively took the DCEU out back and shot it in the head. And then obviously The Flash, I really like. Blue Beetle, I thought was fun. Haven't seen Aquaman yet. I need to get on that one there. But the one I was looking forward to for next year was the Batman. More so than Joker this year, more so than Superman Legacy for next year, but the Batman too, because the Batman is so effing good. But I think what's going to happen is the Penguin show is going to be what we get next year to hold us over until 2026. But let's find out more here. Let's find out more. So fans of the Batman will have to wait a little bit longer to see Robert Pattinson return to the streets of Gotham. And as Batman Part 2 has been delayed a year, now releasing October 2026. This is possibly not a surprise considering that 2025 is already stacked with superhero movies. From Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four to Gunn's opening of Superman, with a lot of focus on the volume of superhero movies that have been hitting theaters for the past few years, usually to diminishing returns. Okay, keep an eye on that one there. We're going to be talking about that. The change to the Batman sequel's release is probably for the best. Now, of course, they want to talk about the Paul Dano thing. All right, they want to talk about the Paul Dano thing. Paul Dano has nothing to do with it. Let me explain to you where it's going. Let me explain to you why this is happening. My opinion on it, at least. And there's going to be some people out there whose fifis are going to get a little bit hurt because I'm gonna once again be honest and truthful with you about Superman. Okay, and you guys don't want to hear it, but I'm being truthful. I'm being honest, and I'm gonna be backing everything up. All right, when it happens, you'll see that I'm right. So let me explain. The Batman 2 is moving in order to not confuse audiences about Superman and Batman's connectivity or lack thereof. Peacemaker Season 2 starts filming right after Superman does in a few months. We found out yesterday, or just the other day, that it's actually not canon to Season 1. Season 1 is in its own world. Season 2 is now canon to the DCU. We don't know what the continuity is. You might be asking yourself, well, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Well, continuity matters. Continuity matters. If the Sony Spider-Man movies were in continuity with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even if they were just running parallel with certain touch points that would allow people to feel that there was a connection, those movies would make more money. Case in point, Venom 2. Venom 2 was looking at about a $40 million opening weekend. They were about a $40 million opening weekend by the time they did their first fan screening in the UK 2 weeks before the film came out. A fan mentioned a possible Spider-Man No Way Home connection. Hearing that it was going to be in the movie, that it was going to be connected to No Way Home. No Way Home was at unimaginable hype levels in October of 2021. Venom's marketing team at Sony decided to lean into this and playing up that everything was going to be connected, that the world's universes were going to merge, things along those lines. I forget the exact wording, but it worked. That hype connection, that hype touch point brought in an additional like $45 million in its opening weekend for what is effectively just a goddamn screenshot only to have that 2 months later be yanked away from audiences once again at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. But they used those like 30, 40 seconds total or whatever the hell it was between those two movies to bilk an extra 50 million almost out of audiences opening weekend to a fundamentally worse movie than its predecessor. So when I say that connectivity matters, when continuity matters, that's what I'm talking about here. I always have to fucking have these arguments with people about this shit. I'm telling you guys right now, they're going to do everything they can to make Superman Legacy, Superman whatever, be as close to Zack Snyder's Man of Steel 2 as possible. Slight changes, obviously. You've got a younger Superman, still looks remarkably like Henry Cavill. David Corenswet looks a lot like Henry Cavill. Sure, Rachel Brosnahan and Amy Adams aren't necessarily similar looking, but that's neither here nor there. You got a Jimmy Olsen this time around rather than the one that was a CIA operative who was killed at the beginning of PBS because he was simply, there's too many characters in that world to keep him around. But Perry White, both Lawrence Fishburne and the guy playing him now, both are black. There's elements here. Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, and Jesse Eisenberg around the same age. There's continuity here. Okay, there's at least this idea of continuity, this veneer of continuity that they're going to have to use in order to try to get people to come to the theater. All right, if let's say Black Adam would have had the last act of that movie with Superman helping Black Adam fight Sabak, then the movie would have done better and we would not be in this position. But they don't know what it is they're doing over there in regards to continuity because they have to now reboot everything. But they just left $1 billion on the table last year, if not more so than $1 billion on the table last year by foregoing all of it to appease shareholders. So their best bet is to move Batman in order for them to try to hype up Superman as the only DC movie coming in 2025. Right? So they could be like, Marvel's got Fantastic Four and all these other movies, but we've only got the one. We've only got Superman. And that's what they're going to be able to do to the market. Because if you got Superman coming in June or July, whatever, of 2025, and then the Batman 2 coming in October of 2025, that's only like a few months. That's only 3-4 months. Audiences are going to see two DC properties and they're going to be like, wait, are they connected? Like, what's going on? And the last Batman movie did over $770 million just theatrically during a fucking pandemic. So it's not to say that the movie didn't make money, okay? But even Man of Steel didn't clear that back in 2013. BVS did well, didn't crack $1 billion, only 850 some odd million because the theatrical was terrible. And we all know how bad Justice League was. So their best bet is to anchor Superman to Batman. But Matt Reeves apparently doesn't want to do that, which brings me to my second point. Now they've got a whole other year to convince Matt Reeves to incorporate the universes. And they should have done this in 2019 with the Joker. Have the Joker be a prequel to the Batman and have the Batman be a prequel to Batman v Superman. You just have it set during different times. Voila, story now connected. Holy shit, we've moved on with a cohesive universe that everyone's going to be fucking happy about. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But for some reason, they don't want to do that. Or at least, in my opinion, they might try to be doing that now because they don't have a choice. They do not have a choice to have Elseworld stories right now. They got lucky with the Joker. Will the Joker continue to make money? Will Joker 2? I don't know. Is it going to have the same hype levels behind it? Maybe. But only if it's good. Only if it's provocative. The last movie was provocative, which is one of the reasons why it did well. And then word of mouth worked really well and kept it going. Will it be able to recreate those assets or not? I don't know. Will it be able to do it? The Batman had a solid movie, a solid cast, a lot of action, great score, pedigree filmmaker behind it. It's Batman, which is always going to make more money than anything else. And that's what I'm talking about here, guys. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. Batman is the character that makes money from Warner Brothers. It's not Superman. So they need Superman to have all the help it can have by getting everything else out of its way. And the sad truth is they should not even do that. They should fucking connect everything. And I don't care if Gunn wants to do it or not. Fucking overrule his ass, Zaslav. Make it work. If Gunn could merge the Guardians into the larger MCU, then Gunn can merge Superman into the larger DCEU. It's not that hard. Audiences want it. They just want better stories that they've gotten. That's what they really want, is better stories. But if they have competent pedigree and a hand that is unwavering at the fucking helm, then they'll be able to get more out of it. That's the biggest thing, is that James Gunn is supposed to be the new Kevin Feige. I say let him cook, let him do his thing, okay? Let him do his thing. But we have to remember that Feige has been around for the whole time. And even when they win big. When they lose, and they lose big, he's still there at the top, correcting and figuring it out and moving forward, always moving forward. That's why Marvel is always a success. Going back to the Sony thing with Spider-Man, if those movies would touch point in, they would be more successful. This is why Elseworld stories, when you have set up as you have continuous cinematic universes, are doomed for failure. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. However else they want to try it. They're doomed for failure unless you connect them. I'm sorry. I know you may not want to hear that. Some of you out there don't want to hear that. You want to argue with me over that one, but it's true. I'm right. It's true, and I'm right. In this particular world right now, this is where we are. So either way, I'm excited to see what's going to be happening with this when it finally comes out. But God damn it, I have to wait a long ass time. All right, let's go into the main story of the night. This is the big one here. Neve Campbell is returning for Scream 7. And fans will recognize the new director. Yeah, this is big. This is big, guys. This is big. This is a reason why 130 of you are in here right now, by the way. This is big because what? Like, what? Famously, Neve Campbell didn't return for Scream 6. They didn't value her as a performer, and Sidney Prescott's character was kind of done, and whatever else, and they didn't want to pay her the money that she was owed. So they went and they did number 6 without her, and number 6 did really well, and then they were gonna do number 7, and then of course October 7th happens, and now here it is, all 6 months later almost, and we have this really differing view on that whole situation at this point, where Israel is now seen as the aggressor, Israel is now seen as the problem, and Israel is now seen as the group that is stopping any kind of progress, any kind of ceasefire from happening, to the point of where, and I'm gonna get political for a hot second, our President Biden has to build a port in the water in order to get around the blockades that Israel has put up to prevent aid from getting into the country to help the Palestinians who are in an open air prison. It's crazy to think about that for a second, right? It's crazy to think that this ties into the Scream franchise, but because Melissa Barrera, aka Samantha Carpenter, her what was supposed to be her big movie without Jenna Ortega, the big movie that was going to be filming already in Williamsburg, North Carolina, everything else, they had all of that going on, and then Spyglass Media got a little bit butthurt because she's out there on Instagram going like, well, who watches The Watchmen sort of thing, who controls the media sort of thing, Free Palestine. On her Instagram story, when I was researching that beforehand, there was a video up there of children that had been crushed by a bombing of a hospital. And the only pop culture reference I can give you to somewhat dilute the horrors in my mind of seeing that would be the scene from The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy finds the Wicked Witch's feet smashed underneath her house. If you want a reference image in your brain to give you a very soft-shelled approach to what I saw on her Instagram about the horrors of what happened there, that's an idea for you to kind of just let ruminate on in your brain for a little bit. I don't recommend going to look it up. I think it's gone by now, but there are some horrors. But as a result of her coming out and speaking about, against a genocide, what we have here is a situation where she was fired, publicly fired. They lost Jenna Ortega at the same time. Jenna, there's a scheduling conflicts working on, Wednesday season 2. Obviously, this can take a while. But she was going to have a cameo in the movie. They wanted her to have a cameo in the movie, but the cameo didn't happen because of all this stuff. And we all know that Jenna has supported Melissa. And the fan base online, at least on social media, has very much supported Melissa in all of this. So now Neve Campbell's back all of a sudden. Christopher Landon is out. The new director, Kevin Williamson, the creator of the franchise, the writer of the original couple films. He's now back to write and direct this movie. This movie that can only, in my personal opinion, be described as the end of the franchise before a complete and utter reboot down the road. Because of the way Spyglass Media has handled this particular situation, they've very much disrupted this, right? The one person who lost out the most, I think, was Christopher Landon, because he was drug into all of this. And he was so happy to be working on this movie. He was so happy to be working on the Scream franchise, a franchise that he loves. He had nothing to do with anything that went on. And as a result, he left the project. And good for him for doing that. It's a whole mental health thing. But let's find out a little bit more. Let's find out a little bit more here, okay? Right. Again, I'm not against Kevin Williamson coming on board, but they need to do right by Melissa Barrera. They need to do right by Melissa Barrera. But it's Hollywood, and I don't think they will. So it says here, consider this the latest twist, or more accurately, a pair of twists in the Scream franchise's shock-filled history. After the 2022 film brought back the franchise in style with the fifth well-received entry, both among critics and especially at the box office, reuniting the original trio while introducing a new cast of younger characters, led by Marissa Barrera, the series seemed to be right on track. The trajectory hit a bit of a snag when reports came out that Paramount was lowballing icon Neve Campbell for Scream 6, followed swiftly by the controversial decision to fire new franchise lead Barrera from the seventh Scream film after her vocal support of Palestine in a series of social media posts, not to mention co-star Jenna Ortega's decision to drop out altogether. There's your, like at this point, like you have to find a way to hit a creative reset, okay? So though many assumed that the latest installment would be left for dead, however, the series looks like it's coming back. In an Instagram post, Campbell announced that she's officially returning to the franchise she famously helped bring to life back in '96 as Sidney Prescott for the upcoming and currently untitled Scream 7. But that's not all. Joining her will be original screenwriter Kevin Williamson, now stepping into the director's chair and taking over for original directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett after they parted ways with the project. Christopher Landon was also attached to direct before eventually dropping out. See, the thing with this, though, like I love how they added that in there when it was Landon who was set to direct it when all of this shit went down, right? So let's find out some more here. If they say anything good, I don't quite know. Here's her post here. Just untitled Scream 7, Neve Campbell saying here, hi all. Oh, I can read the whole post here. Hi all, I'm so excited to announce this news. Sidney Prescott is coming back. It's always been such a blast and an honor to get to play Sidney in the Scream movies. My appreciation for these films and for what they have meant to me has never waned. I'm very happy and proud to say I've been asked in the most respectful way to bring Sidney back to the screen, and I couldn't be more thrilled. Yeah, because there's dollar signs dropping on that one, right? Make it rain, make it rain, make it rain. That's what they did. That's what Paramount and Spyglass did. Just dropped buckets of probably Bitcoin or, I don't know, NFTs or Pogs or something in order to get her to come back. She says, well, I've been so incredibly lucky to make these films with both the master of horror, Wes Craven, and the wonderfully talented Matt and Tyler team. I've dreamt for many years of how amazing it would be to make one of these movies with Kevin Williamson at the helm, and now it's happening. Kevin Williamson is going to direct Scream 7. This was his baby, and it's his brilliant mind that dreamt up this world. Kevin is not just an inspiration as an artist, but has been a dear friend of mine for many years. To the amazing Scream fans, I hope you're as excited as I am. See you on set, Kevin Williamson. All right, so that's what we know about that one right there. Okay, so Sidney Prescott is returning. Obviously, some of the other characters are going to be coming back. They'll probably be gearing up to shoot in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is their double as the Scream 7 or as Woodsboro, by the way. So I've got a homie that's got an inside track record with that place. So maybe, who knows, maybe I'll be a scooper. I'll be dropping some ice cream scoops about Scream 7. I'm kind of curious about this, though, to be fair, because how do you come back from that? Right? How do you come back from that particular situation and find yourself expecting to have the support of the fan base? All right. They're really hoping old school fans show up. You know, they're really hoping that old school fans show up, because then the question becomes, if you're bringing back Neve Campbell, are you going to bring back Stu? Because that's what everyone thinks is going to happen. And I really hope it doesn't happen. I'm not attacking Matthew Lillard. I love the guy. He's made jokes before about how he always seems to come back. and stuff, you know, obviously Springtrap and Five Nights at Freddy's filming, I think very soon, or actually maybe filming right now. Either way, they've got to nail this and do this in such a way that's going to make people not think about Melissa Barrera. And if they can, but at the same time, it's like, that's going to be on my mind for the whole time. Not to say that I'm not going to find enjoyment in the movie, but it's like, that is something that's going to be there. And are the fans going to ignore it? Are the fans going to just say, nah, screw this, we out, we done, we ain't coming back, you done screwed the damn pooch? I don't know. I do not know. Now, I agree with Tony here saying this should be Sydney's send-off. This should be the end of the franchise. This should be the end of the franchise. Absolutely. And as a result of that, we should definitely hope that that's what they want to do. So there's that. Anyway, we'll have to, we will have to see where that goes. So we got a couple minutes left here. Let me just get my thumbnail back on the screen. We can talk, answer some of your guys' questions. There was a super chat here from Command Unit Man. Thank you. Says it's only a trailer, so I'm going to give the project a benefit of the doubt. But the trailer is definitely bad. Also, ETA on the Anime React stream. What anime? You got to remind me on the Anime React thing. I know I got to watch the Batman Under the Red Hood and Gale Force tonight. I meant to watch them last night, but I was so tired from like working 12 hours the night before. So I missed out on that one there. But yeah, let me know about what's going on with the Anime React. I don't fully remember. I'm sorry. Anyway, Music Man here says, I'll be thinking about Melissa and Jenna. Yeah, it's one of those scenarios where, you know, when an actor is fired off a movie for having an opinion, it's a little bit different than someone being fired off of a movie like they were in, you know, for like Jonathan Majors for Kang, right? Like, that's a bit different. That was an actual conviction in a court of law. This is just someone having an opinion. And the president of Spyglass, who owns the rights to Scream, is like, well, I don't like that. You gots to go, sort of thing. And that's just fundamentally terrible. All right. That's just absolutely garbage and needs to be not happening, you know? So that's kind of the way that I see it on that particular one. But with any luck, we're going to get, maybe we'll get a good movie. Parallax here says they'll probably bring back Patrick Dempsey. I think so as well. The Anime React trailer. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that one of these nights. I'll do an Anime React one. Those ones are always tough. Because of the way YouTube operates in regards to copyright. What I might do is, if I pay the money to upgrade StreamYard to like the professional, which is like an additional $400, which is like, I can't do that right now. I can do a behind the scenes stream that only goes to their servers, and we can watch whatever without fear of YouTube shutting it down. So there's that. That might be an option there. So Ron here says, I've just arrived at the chat, but if this doesn't have been discussed yet, but the Batman needed more time. See, I don't believe that. I think that's a cope answer, to be honest with you, Ron. I might not have mentioned that when I might rant about it, but I do know about them saying that. I just don't believe it. They've been working on it for a while because they wrote the Penguin series. They had that done. The strikes delayed the Batman 2 script. The Batman 2 script is probably like already at least a few treatments in. It was done. It was absolutely done. So they don't need all that stuff, to be honest with you. They really, really, really don't need all that stuff. And it is kind of just what it is, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm just kind of like all over that stuff there. Anyway, let's see here. I don't really believe. If they need, now look, if they're being blocked, because of a lot of people are trying to shoot because of the strikes, that's one argument to be made. But if like this, I would say that the script is already done. So they're that. Command says you can just do it on Patreon or something like that. I can't do it on Patreon because either way, I'm still streaming it. And so it's still going to get it still might get clapped. The only thing I could do would be to do it live and then download the stream privately and then re-upload it to Patreon or something like that. I don't know. But I don't really like that, to be honest with you, because I feel like that's kind of like hiding like copyrighted content behind a paywall? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anthony here says, it's hilarious how Batman fans complain when Marvel says you have to watch something to understand the movie, but you have to understand the Penguin to watch Batman too. Yeah, basically. I mean, you're gonna, I don't know who the villain of that's going to be, but I mean, Oswald Cobblepot's going to be a big player. We know that. So I don't quite know. Anyway, listen, we got 140 people watching right now. I don't know if everyone's watching from YouTube and or the Twits, but if you guys want to leave a like, that'd be utterly fantastic, utterly amazing. I'd really appreciate that. And everything. And I do, as we get further into the series, again, I do have a voicemail line people can call in from, and we could talk about all that stuff as well. So I think on that note, 55 minutes in, we're pretty good. It's 2:00. I got to go get my kid from school. So I'll be on tomorrow a little bit earlier, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Have yourself a great day. Be sure to like it, leave a comment. And if you've missed any of the stuff, individual clips will probably start dropping here in a little bit. See you guys. Have a good one. And thank you for listening to Hollywood After Dark. If that, that doesn't even work, there you go.